This is Degentalk. We are here today with Theo Goodman, Degentalk Stoicism, and Sauce. Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for coming on.
What's going on?
Thank you, man.
Nothing much. Okay, let's go straight into MMA because I think a lot of people are still talking about what happened at the UFC 207. Everyone knows Ronda Rousey lost. Dominic Cruz lost too. That was a pretty big surprise, I think. So two big surprises on UFC 207, and two big underdogs cashed. Well, Nunes was at close about 2.40, and Garbrandt, I don't know what he was at close, but it was above 3 point something. So that's two pretty significant underdogs in the main and co-main event, and that's a pretty big deal. Did you have any of those? I had Nunes, but I was wrong on Cruz.
I did, and I set this card out, man, because I just didn't know enough about. There were too many uncertainties here. We didn't know what kind of Ronda was going to show up. We really had no idea. And predictions from different people were all over the place, of course. Cruz versus Garbrandt, man, I didn't see Dom Cruz dropping that. I just didn't see him losing. I was very shocked by what happened in that fight, and honestly, I'm glad I set that one out.
Right on. Yeah, that was probably the biggest surprise to me. But yeah, Garbrandt, he did well against Dominic Cruz's movement, and let's just look forward. So coming up, one of the events coming up is in Bellator, and I think we should just touch on that really quick. We got in the main event, Tito Ortiz against Chael Sonnen. Now, I don't mean to laugh at them. Both of these guys are MMA vets. Big respect to them. They moved to Bellator because they're getting kind of old. They want to keep getting a paycheck, and now they're in this. Bellator is having them as the main event. Sonnen is the favorite at 1.66 and Ortiz at 2.30. I mean, personally, I don't see how beats Chael Sonnen, but in these kind of main event / freak shows, I guess anything can happen. What's your take on this one?
I'm shocked that there's not a more on Tito Ortiz. There's not more than 2.34 on him, because has this guy really shown up for any fights in the past 6 years? Like, looking at his record, he's got a
he
string
beat
of
the
losses.
American Psycho. He beat
Bonner.
What's his name? The American. Yeah, he beat Stephan Bonner in Bellator. That was, I think, his biggest victory.
So he beat an old
2 years.
He beat Ryan Bader like in 2011, and that's his most significant win since 2006, when he beat Ken Shamrock back in the glory days. Like this. So this guy, pioneer of MMA, tons of experience. Obviously, he's a true veteran, but he's going up against PED'd up Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen is not subject to USADA in Bellator.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the big reasons he chose Bellator, is because he can use all the Mexican supplements that his heart desires. So, he's no stranger to Mexican supplements. He's been on PEDs since the very early days of his fighting. He's been open about that, and he's taking PEDs for this fight, and he's been open about that too. He said, I will work within the guidelines that Bellator allows me to. So Tito's going to be doing the same thing, but Chael, Chael has beaten Tito before, by the way. Did you know that?
Yeah. And also, if you look at just who Chael was fighting at the end of his UFC career, it's some pretty high-level guys. He was just, taking on fights. He fought John Jones. I mean, he didn't do well in some of those fights, but he has faced a lot of top guys.
I mean, he almost beat him.
Right. I'm all over Chael Sonnen on this one. That being said, because it is kind of like a freak show. But I did want to touch on that. That is one of the first lines out of 2017 in MMA. And then we've got another one. We've got BJ Penn is coming out again. Now I got to get the line for that. What do you think about him coming back?
another kind of a freak show. We don't really know what BJ Penn we're going to see show up. We've seen BJ Penn in all kinds of different places, but it's an interesting fight, man, because he's going up against Rodriguez. Rodriguez is kind of a Taekwondo, kind of a flashy type fighter. He's won some fights by like highlight reel head kick and stuff. So he's going to be looking for some flashy strikes. I would bet he's going to be looking for some big knockout strikes, some kicks. BJ Penn, the prodigy, his Brazilian jiu-jitsu is second to none. And that's not something that I see, age or time off taking away from his BJJ backbone. So if BJ Penn can get him in the ground or get a situation where even he pulls Yair into his guard, something like that, I wouldn't expect him to have too much trouble on the ground, really. So if Yair can keep this standing, yeah, I mean, Yair's probably going to light him up. But if BJ can manage to get a takedown or something, then, BJ is a force on the ground. So at 4.95, 4.59, this isn't a bad bet,
Yeah.
man.
Okay, yeah, it even moved to 4.55. But yeah, okay, that's interesting. I can't really get behind them on the straight up money line, but when the props come out, I might go BJ Penn via submission.
Absolutely.
And then something else. Yeah, and something else on maybe Rodriguez via TKO or BJ Penn via submission, probably. All right, and just one more. One more I want to touch on. Marcin Held against Joe Lauzon. It's Lauzon is a favorite, 1.71, 2.20 for Held. You have anything on this one? Any opinion so far on that line?
Yeah, this is a cool fight, man, because both people have beaten Diego Nightmare Sanchez pretty recently. Joe Lauzon KO'd Diego, and Marcin Held lost to Diego Sanchez, but he almost had him. Yeah, man, I mean, I'd take Joe Lauzon in this one. Marcin seems kind of inexperienced. He's not been around for that long, and Joe Lauzon he's really I think he's starting to get into the peak of his career right now, and I think this guy has a legitimate chance of getting a title run going pretty soon. So I would take Joe Lauzon for this one.
Okay, great. And we're also joined by Philip. Hey, Philip, are you there?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes, I can.
Right,
you have any opinion on the opening line of Joe Lauzon against Held?
I haven't really. I think I saw the line on Joe Lauzon was like 1.71, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
yeah. I think those are pretty good odds for Joe Lauzon. I mean, I think he's gonna beat him pretty handedly. I mean, he's got some amazing grappling, and I mean his stand-up is really good. He knocked out Jens Pulver on his debut, and I mean he's just been looking better since then. Marcin Held, I think he was in Bellator, and he was pretty successful in there, and also in the Polish leagues. I don't really know I think it's KSW or something like that.
Yeah,
I think he's been in
KSW.
there as well, and he was pretty successful in there as well. I think I haven't really looked at his record, but I didn't really think he looked that good against what's his name, Diego Sanchez. While Lauzon just, I mean, starched him pretty much on the feet. He looked really good, and Lauzon lost his last fight against Jim Miller. I think was
Yeah,
Jim
but that
Miller?
was really close. It was Jim Miller.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that Joe had that one actually, but
Yeah, me
hey,
too.
it was pretty tight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
could
Maybe
see.
the judges saw it differently. I thought Joe Lauzon won, but I mean, it is what it is. I think Joe Lauzon is
It
gonna.
is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Joe Lauzon is gonna win by. I don't know. I think he might go for a submission. I think just to. I don't know. I kind of feel. But yeah.
He has that.
Yeah, I think Joe Lauzon is gonna win though.
All right, and just real quick, right before you
Right.
came on, I just wanted to ask you really quick what you think about BJ Penn against Rodriguez. If you think that be able to submit this guy, or what do you think?
Really, it's depending on where it is. Is it somewhere with high altitude? If it is, then I think Yair
Phoenix,
Rodriguez.
Arizona.
Oh, okay. I don't think that has
Arizona.
such high altitude, does it?
I don't think that's up. No, I don't think that's that
Okay,
high.
then,
You think that BJ Penn is going to gas out in round 2?
If it is high altitude, then I think BJ Penn was gonna guess out in round 2. But if not, then I think he might actually maybe be able to take him on a decision because BJ Penn has, while he did look really wobbly on the feet when he fought, I think it was Frankie Edgar. Or wait, he did
Yeah,
get
he
knocked
looked
out on the
horrible.
feet, right? Did he? I think so. Um,
I remember
I
him
mean,
looking really bad on that comeback.
yeah. I don't know what he did. He like stood on his tiptoes and just it looked really bad. But I don't know what went through his mind. But I think honestly, if you want to bet on BJ Penn as an underdog, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it. But I think that Yair Rodriguez, damn, that's a hard name to pronounce. I think he's gonna win by. Fuck, I think submission. To be honest, BJ Penn is a black belt, and he's really good. But I think that Yair Rodriguez might be able to take him on a submission. If not, then probably a flashy TKO since he likes to, jump around and do crazy stuff. I mean, look at that Alex Caceres fight. It was amazing.
All right, right on. All right, let's move on to some other sports. Sauce, what do you got for us today? NBA? You there, Sauce?
Yeah, so I was just on mute there.
No, that's cool. Yeah. So, were you looking at NBA?
Yeah, I like one game. I know there's a lot of games on tonight. I think one game that I was looking at in particular that stood out was OKC and the Milwaukee matchup there.
Okay. And
Milwaukee,
what do you see there?
some players questionable. Um, OKC the better team, I believe overall. Westbrook, the phenom right now. Um, I kind of like this line right now, 1.5. You get them on the plus right now. I think moderate action. I think it'll get some good value there. Perhaps maybe even a live in play bet if they're down early.
Okay.
I'm tempted. I'm really tempted to recommend this Houston game here in Washington. I think Houston wants this win streak to continue, and I think they just recently found their identity and got the ball rolling. So I like them to put a pounding on tonight on Washington.
Okay. What's the spread on that?
Right now it's at 8.5. Yeah, I think a couple three balls in a row, and we should get a little bit of differential there.
Okay. So that's Houston 8.5 -8.5, and Golden State plus 1.5. And maybe check out if Golden State is down early. Check out the
No, sorry,
the
that was
value on the lifeline.
OKC.
OKC, not Golden State. If OKC is 1.5, and if they're down early, then maybe take a look at betting on them on the live action.
Yeah. Live action always is good for first quarter Houston. But the value depends, of course. I think Houston's going to be there at about minus 200, maybe even 220. So if Houston goes down 5 or 6 points, Washington gets off maybe 2-3 balls in a row. They're up 6 in the quarter. It may look juicy at that point to take Houston to win the quarter to come back. They may be at plus 150 or something at that point. If they're down 5-0 early or 6-0 early.
Okay, I like that. Right on. Philip, did you have anything for NBA today?
No, not really. I'm not really that experienced in NBA. I'm mostly just, look on Reddit, look on people who actually know what they're doing and kind of try to copy them. But I had one bet, which is okay. No, I had Milwaukee Bucks minus, I think it was -2 or something like that. Just because a lot of people recommended it. But, I'm not really analyzing anything when it comes to NBA. I started betting on it like a month ago. But yeah, I took Milwaukee Bucks -2.
Okay, fair enough. Milwaukee Bucks -2 from Philip.
Yeah,
okay, any other? What do you think about that?
Sorry, just to touch base on that. I know the public right now is heavily on OKC. So this may be one of those bets where that minus, everyone's looking at it like, why is OKC a dog in this game right now? And it probably is throwing a lot of people off and tempting them to take that OKC money line. That's why I say it's more of a better in-play bet where you get to see the flow of things. Because if OKC comes out right out the gate, there is that time where basketball has its momentums and its streaks, and You know, if OKC proves to be right out the gate where they're up 25-17 in the first quarter, it may look to reconfirm everybody's damage that they've already put on OKC and maybe even rebang it for a potential swing back for Milwaukee to come back and take it for another 3 quarters for a ride. So that's why I said it's more of a live in-play bet. I do like the Bucks just from the perspective of, you know, what everybody is doing right now in terms of the public. I think from what I can see here, 74% of it is on OKC money line right now. So just from that, I do like Milwaukee, but like I said, just for the value, and you know, you can't get a favorite who's ever a better position than another team as a plus. So last night I actually got San Antonio plus 135, and they were down by 2, and you know that took me for a ride all the way up until overtime.
Nice. All right. Well, anyone else with anything, any plays for today or any plays for tomorrow?
The other play I like for today in hockey right now, coming up with Colorado and Vancouver. Right now I see Vancouver being at home as a favorite as minus 141. Now, both of the goalies for Colorado and Vancouver are iffy. They're not really the best anyways. So I don't really see why minus 141 Vancouver. I would say minus 115, minus 120, because they're at home, but they're both trash. And what I can see here is that the mass majority of the people are actually taking Colorado. So they're seeing the same value where they're saying, you know, the dog here probably looks good because they're both trash. Why would I want to bet so much on Vancouver to win? So I think I like Vancouver as well in this position, seeing that they're making one side so pricey where it pushes everybody away to the other side, almost like the OKC game right now, and what we talked about in NBA. So I know I don't really recommend favorites, but Vancouver being in this position, I do like them. I see around 68% are betting on Colorado money line right now.
So do you expect that line to move some more, that people are going to come even heavier on the favorite than right now?
I think this line is there's science to this. I think at the end of the day, they for the right number here to push everybody enough to where, you know, they'll see enough value in terms of what they posted here, whereas not a lot of people would bet on Vancouver anyways at that price. So I don't really see it moving a lot, to be honest. The more people bet, I think, you know, the more it infatuates their own mindset to say, you know, this is the right thing to do. Just keep it at that line.
All right. Well, if anyone, I don't have any extra picks for today, but I think everyone should come check us out in Telegram, telegram.me/sportsbet. We're talking a lot about the bowl games. We don't have anyone on today that is really deep into them, but the guys that are betting the bowl games are just right now watching the games and looking for in play or betting on second half and checking the lines right now. So they're just too busy to come on right now. But yeah, check us out. We're talking about the bowl games. We're talking NBA. We're talking about hockey, a lot of soccer. And of course, we're talking MMA when the events come around and leading up to the events. And there's still a lot of lines to come out on the UFC and Bellator cards. We just got the opening lines with a few of the opening odds for 2017. So definitely check us out. Telegram.me/sportsbet. Also check out degenbet.com. Make sure to subscribe. Put your comments below.